Oscar De La Hoya admits Gervonta Davis's rehydration clause won't affect Ryan Garcia during the fight. What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So the OG Oscar De La Hoya recently gave an interview, and he spoke about Ryan Garcia and the controversy that has been brewing since the contract was actually signed for him and Gervonta Tank Davis to get it on. Basically, Ryan Garcia has been complaining for like the past month that the rehydration clause, it was unfair for Gervonta Davis to add that in there. It wasn't fair for him to only be able to rehydrate up to 146 pounds. Now, me personally, I think that's fair. I think 10 pounds over a limit is completely fair for both sides. I think it's fair. Basically, if you're going to campaign at that weight, or you're going to accept a fight at that weight, you should be willing to accept any stipulations that come along with the weight. It shouldn't be an argument. It shouldn't even be a thought that there might be some type of limit to rehydrate up to, because if we're going to fight at 135 pounds, at no point should you be able to rehydrate up to 155, maybe even 160 pounds if some of these guys can make it. Because why are we having to fight at 135 pounds if you can get that damn big? If you can get that big, why is the fight at 135 pounds? You might as well make it at 140 or 150 or 150. You know what I'm saying? You could push the weights up and up and up. Why are you campaigning at 135 if you're able to make these higher weights? And if you're able to make those higher weights and you're still trying to fight smaller guys, then basically you're doing that for a reason. You're just trying to beat up on smaller fighters at that point. And I can't give a guy like Ryan Garcia any credit for just wanting to beat up on smaller fighters. So I think that was very intuitive and smart of Gervonta Davis and his team to add that clause in there, because they obviously knew what Ryan Garcia was trying to do. They obviously knew, and they could see, and they probably watched his fights in the past and noticed that when he was fighting smaller guys and winning and knocking them out, that he was doing it because he was coming into the fights a lot heavier than his opponent. Or, you know, he's already most of the time going to be taller than his opponents at 135. So why would you give him a weight advantage as well? You know, it just doesn't make any sense. So I'm glad Oscar De La Hoya is admitting that the rehydration clause shouldn't bother Ryan Garcia. It shouldn't even have an effect. It shouldn't even be a thought, because it's completely unfair. And just because you can make the weight of 155 or 160 doesn't mean your opponent can make that 155, 160 pound rehydration weight. Everybody can't make that weight. So to make it fair, you have to put a limit on how much weight that you can put back on, especially when your body is already in burning mode. You don't want to be trying to force it to do stuff it can't do in that mode. This is the problem with, you know, why I think that most people only campaign about 5 pounds from their walking around weight. You know, that's really where you should be doing it, because once again, once your body is in burning mode, if you are, let's just say this, let's say you are a 135 pound fighter, you walk around at 147, then that means you have to lose 12 pounds just to be at your fighting weight. So that means you have to put your body into burning mode. It has to be burning off fat and calories at a rapid rate. Okay, so you're doing that. Let's say it takes you sign a fight, you know, a month and a half before, 2 months before your fight, right? So let's say it takes you a month and a half to lose those 12 pounds. Your body has to be in burning mode for that month and a half. Then you have 2 weeks to where you're just maintaining that weight. You just have to maintain that weight. But if you're one of those type of guys who easily puts back on weight, then that means you can't go into maintaining weight mode until about a week before the fight, because more than likely, if you easily put weight back on, your body's going to assimilate whatever you start to put into it, and you're going to start gaining weight again. So some people, once you turn the burning mode on, it's hard to turn it off. Some people, once you turn the burning mode on, they can easily turn it off like that as soon as they eat something, and it's going to become a problem for them. So I think a weight limit on rehydration is completely necessary, because either you're going to be too far below the weight, or you're going to rock it past the weight, and be way too big on fight day, and then you're going to have a problem with trying to maintain a weight. So I don't see anything wrong with a rehydration clause, especially when you're one of those type of guys who can't just hold one steady weight, especially if you're bigger than the weight that you're actually fighting at. So when you look at it like that, those rehydration limits, they have to be in place, because once again, you can either be too low in weight or you can be too high in weight, because depending on how your body reacts to what you eat. So I would never say that Gervonta Davis put that in there to spite Ryan Garcia. I think his team noticed that Ryan Garcia is most of the time coming in bigger than his opponent, and much bigger than his opponent, especially at 135, 140. And they said, you know what, we have to put a limit on this, because Tank's body, the way his body is, he's a bigger, short guy. He's a chubby looking guy. He's a stout guy. He can more than likely put on weight very easily. So a guy like that, once he goes into burning mode, it's going to be hard for him to maintain that weight. That's basically what I'm saying, because once again, just look at his body type. Once he starts eating again, his body is going to quickly start to put weight back on. So I think for him and his sake, and it's probably why he's so strong at 135, is that once he puts his body into burning mode, he knows exactly what it takes and how long it takes for him to hit that 135 pound limit, and how long he can maintain that before his body's going to start putting weight back on. Ryan Garcia obviously doesn't know, because he's been campaigning at 140, even though he can make 135. He moved up to 140 because he probably realized that I can easily make 140 easier than I can make 135, and I can maintain 140 easier than I can maintain 135. So people got to be honest sometimes, man, when it comes about sports. They don't want to fully break things down. They just want to give you some cookie cutter answer to a problem and why it shouldn't be that way, even though life is a complicated thing. Weight is a complicated thing to talk about and deal with, unless you've learned throughout your life, and you have to have a long life to learn how to maintain your weight. Most people don't know how to maintain their weight. They'll either tell you that, well, I'm an ectomorph, or I'm a endomorph, or whatever they call it, ectomorph, and that really has nothing to do with how your body maintains weight. People use that as the cookie cutter answer, when it's really you have to have a regimen for maintaining your weight. If you eat 1,000 cookies one day and then you decide the next day, well, I got to do something about my weight, and you eat 1,000 carrots, you're probably not going to maintain that for very long. The day after that, you're more than likely going to go back to eating 1,000 cookies. So you got to either eat 5 cookies and 5 carrots, or you have to just eat carrots all day long, or you have to eat cookies all day long. You got to pick one or the other, and most people's problem is that they don't know how to pick one or the other. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me, share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. More than likely to get a response on YouTube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, please feel free to hit my Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are live.
All you haters can't, cause I'ma get money. I'ma get money. Sitting back thinking about the 50s and the 100s. Bro, I want it all, but it all ain't enough. Cause it's tough trying to stack a buck when you broke as fuck. Itching for the dough, dying for the bread. I gotta make it grow, what my mama said. Doing what I gotta do to get this fucking paper. Bro, make the paper, don't let the paper make it. Sitting back, counting cheese. And I'm kinda wishing that I won't G's. Bro, I'm just trying to stack my change so I can buy me a ring and a big ass chain. I say yes I is, trying to get me a boat and a dope ass grill. I say my name is Sauce Beast, holla at me, see me in the streets. Cause I'ma get money, I'ma stack my chips. I'ma get money, I'ma stack my chips. Cause I'ma get money. Cause I'ma get money. I'ma get money, I'ma stack my chips. I'ma get money, I'ma stack my chips. Cause I'ma get money. Cause I'ma get money. Cause I'ma get money.
Take it like a nigga already told you. Fold up the money, never let the money fold you. Who you know cold, flow more gold. Try and stack chips and I ain't never played poker. Money in the bank, fuck a stash in the sofa. Half of the doja, my ass in the coma. Hoping I don't never cross path with the rollers. All they won't do is harass and pull you over. Still it's about the grind so the paper don't stop. Shorty, if you wanna knock, gotta make it pop. And where you see build if you gotta make it drop. Cause them young D boys on the block make it hot. But I'm